Hey my fellow horror fanatics, and welcome back to October Horror Fest. I have decided for today's October Horror Fest to cover one of my favorite horror comedies, Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th is a horror comedy that follows the plot of the first Scream movie but also takes elements from other horror series and is often compared to Scary Movie, which was released the same year, but I just need to get this out of the way. Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th is way better than Scary Movie is by far. It's funnier and has a better cast of actors, and the film is just way more enjoyable to watch, and I so wish this had gone into theaters at the same time as Scary Movie because I'm sure this film would have kicked Scary Movie's ass, but unfortunately this film came out over 3 months after Scary Movie, but I guess as the saying goes, quality takes time. Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th was made on a budget of $5 million and unfortunately didn't get a theatrical release, which sucks because this film really deserved to have one, but instead was released on DVD on October 17, 2000. Okay, Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th starts the exact same way Scream does, with a house in the middle of nowhere and a teenager home alone, but just an extremely hilarious version of it. The girl gets repeated phone calls from the killer, and after she fails to answer a movie question right, the killer reveals himself and tries to kill her, and after a long, hilarious chase, the killer chases her outside, but the girl accidentally runs into a bug zapper and dies for being electrocuted, and the killer doesn't actually get to kill her, which will be a repeating theme throughout the movie. But he can still take some credit for this kill and decides to light a smoke, but accidentally lights his mask on fire and puts himself out in the bird bath, and his imitation Jason mask melts into a deformed Scream mask, and that's how the film starts. Alright, the next morning we are shown Bilma Falls High School, which is where a large chunk of the film takes place, and I have to say, this is one crazy school. You have teenagers screwing on the school's front lawn, and that's just the beginning of the crazy things going on at this school. Alright, we are introduced to a guy named Dawson, who is a new kid at the school who has a tragic past, which will be revealed later, and the rest of the killer's intended victims are introduced. You have Slab, the athletic jock, who sucks at reading. Next is Boner, who is a freaking weird guy, who's obviously a virgin and who really needs to get laid. Alright, the next to the bizarre group is Barbara, who is the cheerleader, supermodel slut, which is just too obvious. And last but not least, Martina, who is very attractive but clearly has brains. And the new kid Dawson wants her bad. And the feeling seems to be mutual. Anyway, the group of teens head off together and discover the girl who was killed, and how they feel safe at school, yet they don't see behind them that the killer is there trying to kill a student. Okay. And the killer seems to be a student. Okay. And then Barbara says hi to Chucky? Wait. Yeah, Chucky is in this movie. Sort of. The creepy kid plays Chucky, but I have to say, if Chucky ever does manage to transfer himself into a kid, then this kid would play a perfect Chucky. Okay, I just have to say this, all the crazy things that go on at this school, I think every one of us is thinking, why couldn't I go to that school? And I have to say, why indeed? Okay, the group of kids is confronted by a reporter named Hegatha Utzley, who confronts Dawson and accuses him of killing his family, and he gets pissed and gives her a nice right hook in the face. And I gotta say, she had it coming. Mall's security guard, Doey, shows up and tries to act like a real cop, even though he isn't. And while the kids walk away, Doey and the reporter flirt while the camera guy gets attacked by the killer. And yes, I know a lot of this plot is taken from the Scream films, like I said earlier, but can you honestly say it doesn't work? Okay, later in the day, each of the group gets a note saying, I know what you did last something, and we see flashbacks from each character's perspective about something bad they did, or something important each character forgot to do. And yes, I know this is taken straight from I Know What You Did Last Summer, but combining the Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer plots is pretty effective. Alright, at lunchtime the kids discuss the notes they got, and realizing they're in danger make plans to meet together after school, but just their luck, the killer is literally below them listening to their conversation. Whoops. Throughout the course of the day, the killer tries unsuccessfully to kill each of the kids, and I have to point out, Some hilarious product placements that are used, and it gets even more hilarious later in the film. The killer pays a visit to the very creepy principal, but before he can kill him, some angry kids outside throw stuff through the window at him, and he passes out and smashes it into, I assume, is a TV and fries. Damn, the killer is not having a good day. Alright, that night the group throws a party and pretty much the whole school is there with no parental supervision, of course, and the party gets pretty wild, and while the teens let loose, mall security and the reporters show up hoping to get the big story and save the day, though instead of doing their job they start their own party. Of course, the killer starts trying to kill the kids and decides to first start with Boner, but he seems to have a heart attack and dies, but the killer unintentionally kills the passed out drunk girl he was with, and then he quarters Barbara in the garage, and after a hilarious battle and a tug-of-war session with the garage door, the killer corners her, but just before he can kill her, she is stung by bees and she just happened to be allergic and dies. And the killer seems to be getting frustrated. Okay, most of the kids hear the principal is dead and race off to the school to check it out, leaving just the intended victims. Dawson and Martina try to get it on, but are interrupted by Slab's cat, who says he's in trouble, and they race to the bathroom, but wait a minute. How the hell can they speak to a freaking cat? Oh, whatever. The two get to the bathroom and they find Slab, who overdosed on steroids, and he suddenly starts expanding like he's going to turn into the Hulk, but instead explodes and leaves a nice mess. Well, he's dead. I have to say, I like the practical effects used here. They were pretty good. The killer shows up and chases Dawson and Martina all over the house, and we see hilarious messages about either general things or even things about the film, though I'm not sure if they're true or not. Dawson and Martina get cornered by the killer, but Dawson fights back and uses the killer as a punching bag until he's knocked out cold, and then they try to unmask the killer but run into a problem. He's wearing an insane amount of masks. While the kids try to unmask the killer, the mall security dude somehow knows something is going down, and him and the reporter race to the scene while the adults are on their way to help. The kids finally unmask the killer, who is revealed to be Doey's evil lookalike, cousin Hardy. So wait a minute. Doey has an evil twin cousin who's the killer? Okay. The caravan comes rushing in, sort of, and Doey and his killer cousin have a heart-to-heart. But before the two can hug, the reporter accidentally shoots Hardy, and then her cameraman on top of it. Remind me to stay away from her if she's holding a gun. Anyway, the reporter ditches Doey and runs off with a pizza guy, and Doey is left heartbroken. And I'm not gonna reveal the whole ending because you guys need to see it for yourselves, but while Dawson and Martina are making out, the killer is revealed to still be alive despite being shot multiple times and being beat with baseball bats by cops. The killer somehow gets away and seems to go after Dawson and Martina, and that's the end. But there is some updates at the end of the film's credits concerning the characters, and you need to check it out. Okay, that was Shriek If You Know I Did last Friday the 13th, so what do I think of the film? Well, it's freaking hilarious and really fun to watch. The humorous plot based on screen used in this film is really solid, and all the hilarious references in the film just make the film that much more enjoyable to watch. I really like the hilarious cast of actors in the film, and they are really likable and easy to watch, which really helps the movie. I really like the practical effects used in the film, and the music score is really solid. In the end, if you're looking for a horror comedy that is designed to offer some scary aspects, but with a lot of humor that will not only keep you entertained, but give you lots of laughs, then you should check out Shriek If You Know What I Did last Friday the 13th. And I think it's a real shame that a sequel to this hilarious but awesome horror comedy has not come out. Tune in tomorrow for another October Horror Fest. I'll talk to you guys later. This is the Entertainment Wizard, signing off.